Good day, everybody. Welcome to my rendition of Towers, a fun twist on Sudoku-style number puzzles. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the basics of how to play, as well as some useful tips and strategies for solving the puzzles that are easy to remember. If you're familiar with Sudoku, it should make sense quickly, but even if not, it's easy to play and learn the rules. You've probably landed on this video because you're playing my Towers game. If so, thanks for playing. And in the same how to play menu that linked you to this video, you'll find the rules and some tips through the pages there. So if you need a refresher later, that's where to go. If somehow you arrived at this video from somewhere else, probably looking up how to solve the same Towers puzzles in RuneScape 3 or something, and you're interested in trying my Towers, please check the links in the description to download the game. Okay, let's get started. The aim of the game is to solve this puzzle grid, and the solution looks similar to Sudoku's. Each square needs to be filled in with a number between 1 and 5. In Towers, this is represented by actual towers at different heights, and you'll see why in a moment. One of the rules is that each row and column of this grid cannot have any repeating numbers. That means each row and column can have one of each number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in it. The other core rule of this game decides how you'll figure out where each tower goes. You see the numbers all along the sides of the grid? These numbers tell you how many towers you should be able to see if you were standing in that spot. And the rule is that taller towers block out shorter ones from the vantage point of that spot. So for example, if there's a 2 along the edge, then looking along the corresponding row or column, I should only be able to see 2 towers and the rest should be blocked out by the tallest ones. This will become more clear in a little bit as I get into some tips and strategies for this game. But really, those are the only rules you have to follow. Most people will find this more challenging than Sudoku, even though there are less spaces to fill in a typical game. That's because you'll have to learn new strategies and ways of thinking to solve these puzzles. Some Sudoku strategies will help you. For example, if you've managed to place a number in 4 of the squares, you can easily figure out where the 5th placement is because the number can't exist in the same row or column as the others. But another unique, tricky thing about towers is that it's possible for there to be multiple solutions to the same puzzle. This means you might reach a point in your puzzle solving where you can't narrow down your options anymore, and you'll just have to go with your gut and try something. Now I'll show you some basic tips and strategies you can keep in mind to help you at least get started solving Towers puzzles. Generally speaking, it's easiest to try to place the high value towers first and then work out the shorter ones. First tip, if you see an indicator number of 5 along an edge, then you know that the entire row or column following it will have the towers 1 through 5 in order. This is because the only way to see 5 towers from an edge is for them to all be visible from there in order. It doesn't happen often to have an indicator of 5 in a game, but it's nice when it does. Second tip, if you see a 1 along the edges of the grid, the tower that goes next to that must be a 5. Otherwise, if any other tower were there, you would always see more than one tower if you stood there because the 5 would be somewhere else and that's the tallest one. Third tip, expanding on the last one, if there's a 5 on one end of a row or column, as we just mentioned, and the indicating number on the other side is a 2, then there must be a tower of 4 next to that one. This is the only way to block out all the other towers so that the only 2 that you see from that vantage point are 4 and 5. Fourth tip, if a row or column has 3 as the indicator number on both sides, then the tower of 5 must be in the middle of that row or column. It just works out that regardless of where the other towers are, the 5 has to be in the middle in order to see only 3 towers when standing on either side. Fifth tip, along the edges of the puzzle, a tower of 4 can only exist where there is an indicator number of 2. That doesn't mean a 4 tower has to be next to an indicator of 2 because it's possible and common for an edge to have multiple 2 indicators, but it should at least narrow down some options for you as you're starting a game. These are the easiest tips to keep in mind and to get games started. The following are more advanced tips, not because they're complicated, but because it's just more to remember. If you're ready though, follow along. Tip number 6, if an edge has an indicator of 4, there are a few things we know inherently about the towers near it. First, only towers of 1 or 2 can be in the space right next to an indicator of 4. Otherwise, we'll never see 4 towers from there, we'll only see less. If it helps to visualize this a little bit better, imagine if a tower of 3 was next to the 4 indicator. It wouldn't work because it would only be possible to see at the most 3 towers from there. We would see the 3, we would see the 5 somewhere, and then maybe we would see the 4 if it's before the 5. And towers 1 and 2 will be blocked out by the 3 regardless of where they are. For the same reason, the second space from a 4 indicator can only have towers 1, 2, or 3. A similar thinking can be applied to edges with an indicator of 3. Tip number 7. The tower next to a 3 indicator can never be 4 or 5, and the tower 1 space away can never be 5. That's as far as I'll go with tips like that. It won't be helpful to try to memorize much more, and intuitively, as you play, you'll get a sense of which towers make sense around which indicators. New players will inevitably get stuck every now and then, so you can use the hint button here to get a free random tower filled in. You can use a hint every 60 seconds, and you'll see an ad first. If you'd like, you can go into the donation options from the main menu and donate any amount to the independent development of this and future games by me, and that'll remove all ads for you. The last very important aspect of this Towers game I'd like to point out is the customizable ambiance. There are many diverse music tracks and dynamically changing skyboxes in the background. This makes Towers a really nice atmospheric experience on top of just a challenging puzzle-solving game. When you first start playing, the music and skyboxes are chosen at random, but if you prefer a particular mood, you can open up the ambiance settings here and choose specific playlists and types of skyboxes that will show. Some players enjoy this more as a calm experience with meditative music. Others might solve puzzles better with the exciting upbeat mood or blood-pumping volcanic rock setting. Or you might prefer something in between. You pick. And if you're really vibing the ambiance, you can use the screensaver mode button in the ambiance settings to just let your chosen playlist and skyboxes play in the background. Going into screensaver mode during a game won't interrupt it, and it'll keep your progress as is. And doing it from the main menu is nicer because you'll see the puzzle solving itself over and over. It looks especially nice on a tablet. It's cool. Alright, that's all. I hope this video helped you understand the game of Towers much better. It is a lot of fun once you get the hang of it, and even if you get stuck a lot at first, don't worry, it is hard. But with some practice, you'll find that you're able to solve these left and right, and your strategic puzzle solving ability will be much sharper than it was before. Please enjoy! And I would like to mention once again that the donation option is there in the game menu. Any amount donated, once again, will remove ads. I am solo developing this in my spare time, and all donations will help me dedicate more time to improving Towers and creating other fun games like this. At this time, I can't offer much to donors, but if things go well, I do plan on rewarding present donors in my future projects. Happy puzzle solving, everybody.